Customer loyalty is dependent on many factors. Certainly it's about the ability to be agile and flexible in the relationship, but you've got to have a starting point which says we're delivering, you know, and you've got to deliver against the expectations that were set out at the start of that relationship. So there's your foundation, clearly. It's just to make sure that there is a delivery that's recognised by both sides. As you then move on, absolutely, you know, a measure of a good relationship is one that can adapt and be agile to new opportunities. It's one that can be robust through challenges and difficulties, which we'll all have, and it's one where there is fairness and transparency, and that's an easy thing and perhaps a cliched thing to say, but in my experience, having been on both sides of the fence as a buyer in big corporates and a user of big technology investments and as a seller of them, it's absolutely about recognising that one side has to make a margin and be clear on what they're delivering, and the other side has to be clear on what they want, and that it's okay for somebody to make a margin out of us. When those two fundamental principles aren't there, you often see a degradation in the relationship, and that doesn't benefit either party.
Managing and marketing to customers, I still think, is a difficult entity for technology B2B marketing. When you're selling complex solutions and you're selling them to global organizations with multi-year contracts, the focus is all around closing that individual deal. And then quite often what will happen is they will have paid an enterprise license agreement, they'll have an all-you-can-eat software deal for 3 years. So from a point of view of cross-sell, upsell, future nurturing, this kind of stuff, from a sales perspective, there's very little that goes on. And therefore, from a marketing point of view, I've seen organizations struggle to understand what the right thing to do is. However, you know, when you're getting nearer to the renewal, and nearer could be 12, 18 months out, you absolutely need to be marketing around the justification of the investment that's already been made, making sure they're maximizing the technology they've got, explaining the benefits it's driven. It's more around sustaining the relationship, helping them sell the value of what your software has delivered to their stakeholders internally, supporting them in that, and then building that relationship on an ongoing basis.
If you think about SaaS, one of the main selling points of SaaS, other than the fact that it's constantly being upgraded, it's always on, it's can scale in whichever way you want and the costs are lower, I think the other thing about SaaS is it can be switched out. So whilst a company such as ours are driving very much down the SaaS route, and we have a very high renewal rate in the high 90s, if not just below 100%, the issue will always be that somebody can switch out if they want to. And companies such as ours have to focus on the customer service, the customer support, and developing the product in a way that the customer doesn't even think about removing your product, because it works, it does exactly what they want, and they can see that it's going to support them as their business evolves and as they acquire new companies, as they grow, they expand, or whatever.
Building real relationships and doing marketing with and helping those customers develop their own businesses and showing thought leadership in the ways in which they could develop their businesses and take them forward. So you have to not only know your own business, you have to know your customer's business at least as well as they do.
When looking at customer loyalty programs, I think the B2B marketplace can definitely take some key learnings from the B2C marketplace. However, I think it's really important to recognise that you're not rewarding an individual per se. With B2C, it's pretty easy to kind of have a point system and, you know, some form of loyalty program, which I'm sure as individual consumers we're all familiar with. But in a B2B environment, you're tending to deal with teams and you're dealing with individuals that are not looking for instant gratification for themselves, but for their business as a whole. Also, there's generally a lot of policies in organisations that, you know, prevent people from taking things that are for personal gain because it biases them over a particular organisation. So ways to overcome this in a B2B environment, I believe would be things like putting a rewards program that helps their organisation grow stronger. So that could be discounts for training or services, or maybe specific areas of a website where they get a personalised online assistance, maybe helping them and their technical teams, and various things like this that you could do. You could also maybe do some charitable donations. So if there's a particular charity that their organisation supports, if they do, I know, references for you, speak at your events, recommend you to other customers, so you can start to reward them in that way as well.